sure that that's not violated.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
I'll bring it up at the
Thank you for
meeting,
having us.
but that would be good if we could get that language.
So Claire's
Hope
working
you're doing
out.
okay. I'm sorry I didn't ask you how you were doing. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
Hope everything is okay. Okay, talk to you later.
Is that? Place training. Yeah, that would be you. I believe. Never stops.
Yeah.
And ironic.
No.
Yeah.
Minutes from last month?
Yes, this one is.
Can you show me where that? It's a link.
Falls apart.
That is under. So that's as we discussed.
So everybody started laughing.
Congratulations.
All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for being here. This is the December regular meeting of the Santa Monica Disabilities Commission. I'm going to start with a roll call. Commissioner Antonini, Commissioner or Vice Chair Rockfeld,
Present.
Commissioner Clark,
Present.
the blue one. Okay, I think I have to, well, we'll figure that out in a second. Commissioner Chair Elliott is here. Commissioner Cosmea Dodge is not present. Commissioner Wen is not present. Commissioner Azaria is not present. Commissioner Gordon,
Oh, thank you, Thomas. Here.
Commissioner Royale, and Commissioner Adiyami is not present. He's on his way. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We have quorum. I'm going to, actually, I'm just going to jump to 3A because I want to be mindful of folks' time, and then we'll go back to number 1. 3A is our special agenda item, a presentation and discussion on City of Santa Monica web accessibility with Faraz Murchia, Chief Information Officer, and Jeremy Peterson, User Experience Designer, City of Santa Monica. Thank you for being here, and I hope I got your name okay.
Chair Elliott, Commissioners, good evening. My name is Faraz Murshia. Okay, much better. We have a short presentation that will give you a quick overview and update in terms of where we are as far as compliance is concerned on the web accessibility. So let's step through the presentation and then we can open it up for Q&A. And any detailed technical question, I believe there were some questions that were sent to us. So Jeremy is overseeing this area, so he can provide more context and details about it. From an overall project or this initiative perspective, we are looking to make sure that all our systems are accessible in accordance with the ADA guidelines. The new technology vendors that we bring on board, existing technology vendors that are part of our ecosystem today, follow the contract language that requires them to be compliant and provide that evidence. And then we are doing a complete evaluation of everything that is in our technology ecosystem that should be compliant to make sure that we hit the deadline of next year, April. One of the things that we do, and the most important thing, is awareness, training, and continuous learning so that people understand what accessibility means, how the technology is leveraged in that context. So we have a training available. Every employee is required to go through this training. So what you see here on the screen is a display of the screen where they go through the online training. And then once they complete the training, they acknowledge and a record is maintained this way so that we make sure that employees are trained. The few other things that we do as part of this program, we have a system where we maintain these images, and it allows our staff member to go through and make sure that these images are in compliance with the guidelines. So alternative tagging is done, and any kind of enhancement improvement that is required, this system allows us to do that. So everything is monitored and managed in accordance with the guidelines. We talked about vendors and the contract language. So what you see here is the contract language that is part of our contract. So every vendor is required to provide evidence that they are performing and delivering their products and services in accordance with these guidelines. From next step perspective, the major initiative that is currently underway is making sure that we shut down all legacy websites. These are the ones that are smgov.net. So Big Blue Bus, Finance, All these will be retired because they are not compliant, they're legacy, so we'll get rid of them. And santamonica.gov is the one that is the primary domain that we will operate under that is compliant. So as we go through this process to make sure that everything is in order, we'll do a comprehensive evaluation of every system leading up to the deadline. And this evaluation and review process will be two-part. One, leveraging technology to do that effectively and efficiently, and also using humans so that we have both layers of validation and verification in place. And we are constantly evaluating technology that allows us to conduct this ongoing monitoring. So as opposed to doing periodic lump sum changes and updates, if we have a ongoing monitoring, so we capture wherever there is a deficiency, we address that deficiency then and there to make sure that we stay in a compliant mode at all times. And then we look at any new emerging technology and tools that can enhance our posture. We'll continue to adopt those and bring those systems into our environment so that we operate in a most effective manner possible. With that, I'm going to pause here and open it up for questions if you have any.
I'll chime in. Just thank you for being here. Just being here, showing up, willing to collaborate with us is awesome. Yeah, just, I mean, the thing that I'm really involved in this space and also a government employee outside of the commission, and just PDFs seem like just a very heavy lift. So I'm just, curious about your approach to that. And also, maybe after your presentation, I have some ideas about additional assistive technologies that I use. I brought a couple things in with me to show you. And then I want to hear the rest of your presentation, but I have a lot of thoughts on this. But just thank you for being here. This means a lot.
No, absolutely. Happy to be here. And Jeremy can provide more detail about PDF, and we're happy to hear your recommendations and suggestions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And to Feroz's point, we would love to hear those recommendations. I think to your point, PDFs really offer, I think, the biggest challenge when it comes to the websites. There's clear monitoring tools. The city's website's always really been meant to meet those standards, so that we're not just doing this because of the legal requirement. We're really doing this to make sure we're serving the whole Santa Monica community, and have really always taken that approach to our technology. When it comes to PDFs, also recognizing the importance, there's city council meetings, there's important discussions around the Disabilities Commission, the Planning Commission. And so a focus that we've had is looking at, there's some AI tools that provide some solutions where they're scanning those documents, converting them into HTML, and then also putting a resource number against that. So there's a service called Aria, which you're able to pick up the phone or use FaceTime and engage with a real-time live person who can then walk you through some of these documents. So the tool that we're looking at would provide a reference number like C468, whatever. You would read that number, then the interpreter on the other side would be able to walk you through that if there's any questions beyond what the AI tool is able to convert into HTML. So that's really how we're looking at PDF documents. We're also partnering with the city clerk and all of our departments, so things like planning that has a lot of visually heavy documents, and making sure that there's language that's clearly listed where they can provide additional assistance if needed.
No, that's good. That's actually one recommendation. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Antonini.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. Sorry. I was just curious. So in like the contracts, for instance, where you have set out the requirements that the vendors provide content that meets the WCAG requirements, how do you check? Like, is there any specific tooling you have to like check that they are compliant with those standards?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's part of what we're doing right now is, I think we listed under next steps, is really looking at evaluation tools that do that continual monitoring. Mm-hmm. So we get a piece of information or a piece of technology, it's delivered, we do that check up front to make sure it's compliant. But there's always enhancements and additions that are made to these technologies. And so those continual monitoring tools will really give us that touch point where we're able to say, continually monitor this piece of technology, make sure any enhancement or any update is still meeting those guidelines that were initially checked. It's also a really good touch point for our team that's developing the website and the new template. So before anything is released, making sure that we're doing that gut check, and then we do bring in some outside consultants to help with like front end development, doing all of those checks as well through those tools before anything's released to the public.
Thanks. And maybe one other question if no one else has anything. For the legacy website, is the plan there that it will redirect to the current website, or is it just going to be totally deprecated and like an empty domain?
Sure, that's a great question. So we actually, when we started this project of moving to santamonica.gov, we were over 55 different legacy domains at that point, and I think upwards of 55,000 pages. And so over the course of the past 2 or 3 years, we've been really moving everything under santamonica.gov. There was a few that we listed, so Big Blue Bus, Finance, and then SMGov does have a few legacy pages related to like City Council. So we're really thoughtfully moving through those, especially Big Blue Bus, understanding the importance of people to rely on public transportation. Really being thoughtful with compliance as we bring those over. Finance is actually being moved over this week. So what will happen, to your point, is there will be a redirect now that the content's under santamonica.gov. So anybody that goes to those legacy domains will fall under santamonica.gov. And the reason, like I said, the Big Blue Bus is sort of one of those last standing pieces is because we've been really thoughtful in making sure we're meeting those compliance guidelines. And then for smgov.net is just the sheer volume of the website that's that old, as well as a lot of the legacy documents related to City Council or other boards and commissions.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
A couple questions. So on the contracting, do vendors provide you with like a accessibility conformance report or a VPAT? Is that part of the process? And then in addition, because I mean, it's a pretty high level evaluation. It's like met, not met, doesn't apply. Like, so is it the combination of review of like a ACR, VPAT plus tools?
It's a good question. Yeah. So right now it's written into the contractual language, and so it's really their legal obligation to meet it, but we're not doing any sort of VPAP. We're just doing sort of that initial check, making sure they're meeting the guidelines. And I think that's really where this importance of the monitoring tools will come in, to making sure that they're not just meeting that initial check, but ongoing as enhancements or updates are made, we're continuing to evaluate them.
And just like the city of Denver has like a year head start because they had some state laws that required. So I would just really encourage, we don't have to recreate all these wheels from scratch and risk making a worse version of a wheel that exists. There's also groups like ADA Pacific Region has a group that meets regularly, just focus on digital accessibility, plus statewide ADA coordinators groups, plus California Department of Rehab. They're the state leader on this. They have a whole toolkit. We often share, like I shared a hyperlink to the Department of Rehab's web accessibility toolkit. So to the extent possible, leverage existing wheels, because there's just so much work in this area, and we can be a partner in helping you find really good resources. And just, I would encourage, like, a big piece of accessibility is just kind of the literacy, the digital literacy piece. So I would invest or put some effort into making sure city staff is aware of accessibility features on your iPhone, your laptop, Windows, how to use the accessibility checker in Office 365. Like I've created like a SharePoint for your intranet that just has hyperlinks on how to use all that stuff, and that's something you can do pretty free. Like, and other government entities probably already have one that you can leverage if you use the same system as them. And then maybe embedding it into, like, I know the library does some digital literacy stuff, so maybe embedding the accessibility settings. They often get into email security, but not accessibility. And like every update, every September with the new OS, there's like new accessibility features. So I just want people to, that's like a free intervention we can do. But I'm liking a lot of what we're hearing, and I think there's just opportunities. We don't have to start from scratch. And I hope, you know, we're Silicon Beach, we're kind of one of the wealthier cities in California. I'm hoping at some point we can be kind of a leaders on 2.2, 3.0. I mean, WCAG, it's compliance, but we can do better. That's the floor. And not just because it's a compliance issue, but there's the curbside effect, that when you make something accessible, it makes it better for everybody. Like tons of people use captions in meetings that the technology was designed for the deaf, hard of hearing. There's a million examples of making something really accessible. It makes it better for everybody. So I just encourage us to go above and beyond. But I could talk all day. I want to open it up again.
Yeah, and if I may just respond to that real quick too, we would absolutely appreciate any resources or direction that you can give us. I think our team is always looking not only to meet the legal requirement, like I said, but really make sure that we're delivering accessibility and that we're providing resources in a way that's accessible. So any way to augment that or provide additional resources, we're always open to. I'll also note that as part of this upcoming CIP cycle, we're requesting funding specifically for ADA compliance and helping with some of these things that are outlined in the next steps. So any additional tools or resources, always want to use the free ones that are available, but if there's any paid tools or resources that you think would help, would love to fold that into our CIP ask as well.
Sort of switching a bit on, switching a bit on this. So how is your department set up? We're talking about more the technology, the bones. How about the editorial aspects, or who controls what we put in the website? Second question would be, how long have you been spending on, how long has it taken to sort of get close to having everything integrated? And when do you think that process would be done?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way that the website's really set up in part of our transition to santamonica.gov was to build in safeguards. So everything is created in a template now. So we have standard templates for events, for places, for topics. The old website was sort of open-ended, and I think that offered a lot of challenges as it relates to accessibility, as well as just sort of managing all the content that was coming in. So anybody that gets access to the website now, we're not experts in RRR or whatever the subjects are, so we're not writing the content. But each content author needs to go through that full training, which includes a heavy focus on accessibility. And only after they complete that, then they're granted access to the website, and then they're working within those very standardized templates. So they're not able to customize the HTML, any of the alt tags, metadata, anything like that. The system is set up to really handle that, so that we're constantly in control of the content and ensuring that we're meeting that compliance.
So does that mean you have category editors of sort, is what you're referring to there?
Exactly, yeah. So each department really has, we call them web leads or they're web authors, and there's people that are within those departments that are really experts in the topic of their particular department that are managing the content. We more manage the templates and the structure in which they're able to create and publish that content.
So for your resources regarding the backbone here and integrating, when do you think that particular transition, what's your goal of having that completed?
Yeah, so Big Blue Bus, as far as moving all off of the domains, if I'm understanding your question.
Right, when you finally have said, okay, everything's in one place. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but it's in one place.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Big Blue Bus, we actually have the design and it's finalized, and so we're moving into the development phase of it. So I see that in Q1 or Q2 of 2026. We're pretty close on that. As far as the city council, we're sort of looking at a stopgap. There was a solution that we were putting in place for the actual agenda management, so how it's initiated and routed through the city. As soon as that's done, then that will pretty much be the last piece of getting us off of smgov.net. So we're looking really by Q2 of 2026.
So the direction of my question, and one of the topics that we actually discuss a lot, is the access to information for those who are disabled, if they needed blue parking spot, whatever it would be, where the wheelchairs exist for the beaches. And our general thought has been that's very dispersed and hard to find. And I'm wondering, is there an editor? So once things are together, are you going to then sort of spend those resources to streamline the large.gov, or what are your thoughts are? Sure. And is there an editor or someone who is responsible for ensuring that this information is sort of put in a common location for those who might need information on disabilities and services and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So we work really closely with our communications team, our office communications, on the content side of it. The website and the structure that was built into santamonica.gov was, I would say, probably 4 or 5 years old at this point. And so we're doing a thorough evaluation, and we're using a data-driven model to really look at what pages are people engaging with, which pages are people maybe clicking on but dropping off really quickly. The other thing that we're looking at is the search. I know the results right now are not turning up great results, and so we're really looking, technology's advanced quite a bit in that space. So understanding natural language as you type it. It might not need to be pixel perfect to what the title is to really find the information that you're looking for. So those are two pieces that we're really focusing on from the content side. I would say any specific content around accessibility, we would love to sort of elevate and make sure that that's easy to find as well, so that we're able to not only build the website in a way that's compliant, but also really use it as a tool to make sure that people have access to the resources and tools that are available to them as well.
So then the question would be for how can we help you achieve that? Because I know that's that's a conversation we have all the time here, and something that we really want to make it easier for those who have access to the information. A search is great, but a sub-location where they go and it's
Yeah.
all there, they don't have to think about where to search, and even for us as a commission, there's information that we think the public should know that we come across, and we would hope that there's an ability to add this on a more
Absolutely.
live basis and create a library of resources. And that's one of our large initiatives. So any way we can work together would be extremely helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Would love that opportunity, and we'll definitely work in partnership with the commission, with our Office of Communications and myself to make sure that that happens.
One last.
Oh, go ahead.
Final question. So who would we communicate with on your side to at least open up a regular dialogue?
You can have that directly with me, yeah.
You raised your hand.
Yeah, exactly. I'll volunteer myself.
I'm going to say something real quick, then I got you. No, just want to echo that. We'd love to have like a subsection with resources. I'm a certified ADA coordinator. I've been an ADA coordinator. We're good curators of information, so we'd love to just share that. That's and I'm going to kick it to Commissioner.
Yeah, and just to follow up on both those points too, I think it was Commissioner Rackfeld found that the city of Boston, I think, has a really good example of a page like this. So to Chair Elliott's point on not reinventing the wheel, there are other cities that have these really nice, web pages that have collected a lot of accessibility resources in one place.
Yeah, no, that's a great recommendation. Yeah, and would absolutely continue to partnership with this commission as well on that effort.
And I'll chime in again, just also encouraging maybe as part of the training, just including the Microsoft Accessibility Checker, Adobe Acrobat Accessibility Checker, how to run those reports. Nothing should go out with a, WCAG failure that's found by one of those things before you even get into the additional layers that you may have to purchase. But just on the hardware side, and I can have you guys check this off online, but I use the Microsoft Adaptive Hub. So then it has ports, 3.5 millimeter ports. I can put in a switch, and it just opens the door to any type of switch. This is a button switch, but you can do a SIF and puff. Anything your imagine can think of. It also has USB-Cs. So I have this controller thing. Each button can be mapped. Like I have tab, enter, up, down, left, right. So I can navigate an application with this arm, just with this button. And there's an application to map this. It's embedded into Windows 11. And it has Bluetooth, so you can also connect it to your, if you guys use work iPhone. So this is a good thing, both from ADA Title I for employees, and we put out as part of July Disability Month, we wanted to get these for like this room, just in case someone with a disability needs to use their SIF and puff or something that could fit in a 3.5 millimeter USB-C or Bluetooth. So this might be some in addition to other ideas to add to your menu. And then also there's this Surface Kit that makes your laptop have more buttons and things, a little more accessible, a little more tactile. But we got ideas for days. We're here to help.
No, absolutely, and we'll take them all. The other thing I'll add to that point too is part of this sort of next steps is when we're looking at these tools, we're not just looking for tools that are for monitoring. Absolutely, those are going to be critical, but we've also set aside hours for training and then also for manual testing as well. So if there's any particular tools or areas of focus that you'd like us to make sure that the vendor that we ultimately end up selecting is doing manual testing for, we would love your guidance on that as well.
I mean, off the bat, definitely just screen readers, the top ones, and, I'm sure JAWS and VDA, and then probably Braille readers. But I can get you a more in-depth list. And again, look at Denver, look at Boston, look at the EU. They're a year ahead of us because they had to implement. So there's wheels to copy and then adapt to Santa Monica.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, thanks for being here tonight. I just had one quick suggestion. It was for the Big Blue Bus website. This is kind of in the trees, but to make an ADA complaint as a Big Blue Bus rider, you have to like download a form and print it out, and then like upload it back and email it to somebody. But if that could just be like an online form, the way that the civil rights complaint is, I don't know why one was one way and one was that, but for the ADA complaint, if it could just be an online form, I think it would be nice.
Yeah, no, that's a great note. We'll definitely
Thanks.
work with DPD on that.
That actually reminded me, we also, in the Santa Monica app, if you put in disability-related search terms, hopefully over time there can be more disability-related results. There, I put in disability 0 results, wheelchair 0 results, so there, I know you're working on the, natural language. There could be improvements to the searches on the app and the results in the app, and again, we're happy to collaborate.
Yeah, fortunately enough, I also work on the mobile app and the 311 program, so yeah, would be happy to partner with you on that.
All right, now, again, just thank you. Hope this is a start of a collab. We have tons of resources. We'll email you. Feel free to reach out, and I hope this is a two-way street, and just really appreciate you spending the time and talking to us, and we welcome you back maybe once a year or once a week. We'd love to have you back and continue this work. This is a heavy lift, and we're here for it. Thank you.
Nope, appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go back from the top because we jumped right to 3A, and I'm gonna open it up to item number 1, public input on non-agenda items. Do we have?
We have a member of the public who's here who's ready to comment. Sean Delgadio? You have 2 minutes. No.
Hi, Council, how are you? 911 Montana Avenue actually is the site of a new, it's a mixed-use property of which we'll be bringing in a coffee shop. So it's a 16-unit apartment building. There's a lot of issues going on there. The issue I'm just bringing to your attention today is the mandatory ADA parking that was initially presented to the city through the architect and the developer. So it showed the ADA parking spot. And through a few different twists and turns, they then presented a new set of plans suggesting that technical and feasibility would preclude them from the aforementioned ADA spot. So it's not accurate. Actually, I've spoke to Blake Stavros, who was probably just one of the best people I spoke to at the city, and he kind of felt it was too much of a gray area for you guys to really address but the strangeness of this is that the technical and feasibility only applies to commercial buildings and not residential. And that's effectively what's being shared with them. So there was, as far as I'm concerned, kind of like a shell game. I don't know if this is something that you guys can address, but basically the expansion of the small 300 square foot commercial that was a malt shop back, guys, in 1940 is, would include or trigger the ADA spot. And I feel it's illegitimate how they've came to, if you will, eradicate it. It involved the removal of my kitchen and bathroom and actually taking my parking amenity. So, wow, that was, compared to last night, that is, because I actually spoke briefly at the city council on this yesterday. But do you guys have anything to add, or is this just, okay, bye?
Are we able to ask questions?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
I just can hopefully summarize kind of what you said. So there's an existing building that's being redone or a brand-new building?
Correct. Gerald, there's a landmark building, I guess not, in 2017, they landmarked it, so there's a Mills Act on it to bring it up to restore it, which
Okay.
again, I don't feel is being done, and this is part of it. Well, this is so it is 3 buildings on one property at 911 Montana Avenue, right next to Cafe Lux. And it will be a coffee shop. I haven't named that for just because but needless to say, yeah, it triggers the ADA spot.
So there's going to be a remodel of an existing building.
It's already begun in January.
And,
Yeah.
and when things are remodeled, you have to go up to current codes, and that could include parking or whatever else. And I just wanted, from what you said, was in the process early on, there was set aside a space for a disabled parking, a blue spot. And through the process, that's no longer being put in.
The architects and consultants submitted a new, proposal to the Landmark Commission, strangely, I don't know why, saying that the building safety had determined that the handicap parking was not necessary. And that gentleman's no longer, yeah, if you can believe it, Orville Sabato's no longer here, of whom they were saying said that, I will defend him. I don't know the involvement here. I will simply say that he, in the email, which is all, I did a FOIA on this over 2 years ago, but he said, it looks like it might qualify for technical feasibility, but send in all the stuff. But it was like a shell game because, again, it's kind of confusing because technically it's a mixed-use property with 3 buildings, 2 of which are residential, 1 is commercial. So in their head, they're all twisted and turned, and next thing you know, everyone's doing this, and the ADA spot, yeah.
So I'm just trying to get to stay, okay, so somehow through this, according to you, then that spot disappeared, approved by the city planning department, whomever, and that the rationale you're saying is because it's being considered a residential as opposed to a commercial, potentially, and as we know, those have different regulations. So that's sort of the
Correct.
summation of what you said.
Right,
Okay.
so they're saying that to put in the ADA parking spot, they needed to remove 54 square feet of a residential building, which happened to be my kitchen and bathroom, to put in the spot. He never came to me. He had whatever $50,000 architectural designs created, went to the city and showed them that. And we just happened to go there. There's only 6 people on the Landmark Commission that day, and strangely it went 3-3, so he was told by them to come back to our property and tell us what was going on, which they came with a big presentation. Again, technical and feasibility only applies to commercial property. This is a residential building, and it's an injustice, really, because the whole thing has actually given way to a lot of other unfortunate occurrences at the property.
If I may, one last question. You said, so you were living on this property or are living on this property, and that your building or your residence was adjusted to make way for a blue spot, which actually did not come to fruition?
Yeah.
Trying to follow all the points here to understand it fully.
This is truly a kind of, I know the commission has a limited amount of time, but I'm just telling you right now, complex trials produce the biggest rewards because they're hard to unravel, okay? So those questions are very pertinent. The bottom line is they use technical and feasibility when it doesn't apply, as far as I'm concerned, and from what my research has shown. And I've been told that by many different, but needless to say, so they're using it on a residential building, and there's a new set of designs that were approved by the city, permitted, those aren't even being completed, but that's a completely separate story, like I said, given way to complete disarray at this property, which has nothing to do with you guys. But again, I thought this was kind of the weakest link, or rather the strongest link in a way, of the Disability Commission, because nobody has done a thing, planning and housing and city council just kind of looked at me because I read yesterday evening, I read an article, if you guys want to look at it, it's called Evil and Corruption from 8 years ago from Charles Andrews, which talks about just the collusion between the developers and some of the city and things that are going on. But right in Thousand Oaks, 3 months ago, a building inspector is looking at 4 years of bribery. There's a big developer right now facing 15, 20 years on historical preservation tax fraud. So the Mills Act allows property owners, developers, namely, a massive, it's a blue ribbon property forever and ever and ever till the next meteor hits. You could sell to, the point is, it's a Mills Act is part of this thing because they give you 70% theoretically or more or less off your property tax for life if you bring the building up to code. But I think it's more of lipstick on a pig, which plays into the ADA parking spot. Because to do that ADA parking spot, it would cost him more, and he loved he kind of, so anyways, there's issues over there. There's a spot, the first iteration, which would effectively be Exhibit A in this thing in the future, if I live to see it happen, would be the first architectural designs. The Exhibit B would be the second ones. And then the story would really start in between there, which involves really what I would see as a massive kind of, if you will, white collar kind of, let's just say, issue, which involves what I would say a little bit of public corruption, and then gives way to something even more ominous, which is taking place at that property right now. So again, people need a place to park. It's really tight over there. That spot's supposed to go in. Ironically, there's a lot more you don't know. The project manager is no longer here. God rest her soul. It's very distressing on a completely separate level. And the management company who owns all these properties, I can't even tell you what's, like, I got a bullseye on my back, basically, right now. Yeah, I'm saying that. It's insane. And yeah, it's like, and if you read the article, Evil and Corruption from Charles Andrews, 8 years ago, it's actually kind of hilarious, talking about what could possibly be going on. It's giving way to some of this because as far as I'm concerned, well, the permits, there's all sorts of issues with that, which again are not your purview. The disabled parking spot it was very clean, clear cut when they brought this thing to the city. And by happenstance, again, we got that green card and everyone we all mustered the troops together to come down here, 6 years ago, and see 6 people here who went 3-3 going, because my neighbor, 96-year-old neighbor now with a pacemaker who's screaming at the commission, another lady crying, and everybody else completely baffled, especially me, because when my neighbor and I walked over and said, who bought this building? And we see the guy sitting there, I said, did you buy this building? He goes, yeah, who's an F? He asked that's me. He goes, oh, we need to do something, because I was like, yeah, couldn't you came to me? So I sat here 6 years ago. And in that time, I've made over probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, a few hundred phone calls. And now I'm here doing what I would never thought I would find myself doing in the history of mankind being here. But this system's broken, and unfortunately, this is a great city, which, again, there's reasons for what's happening here, and if you heard my understanding of it, which I know is accurate, it would help. But just seeing the chief information officer here, I know doging this city would be awesome because it would, there's just, look, so there's, the money that's coming from the state of California into this program, okay? If you will, the lipstick on a pig that I aforementioned, the amount of money that's supposed to be spent on the project that I don't think is being spent, and then the tax benefit that's coming for eons after that, I don't know where there's a mesh. And there's also, again, just massive harassment, retaliation, discrimination. It's insane. So, Gerald, thanks for engaging me.
Thank you for your comment.
Everybody
I
here,
appreciate
you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for getting it on the record. I'm gonna keep it.
Or ma'am.
I'm gonna keep
please.
we have another public comment. I'm gonna keep it moving. Thank you.
Alex, let her just, if you don't mind, right? Is it okay?
I don't, Harvey, did you want to make a statement tonight? Is it okay if we finish talking though? Is that okay, Harvey?
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it.
And we also have a public comment that was brought in as a written submission. I'm going to read it out loud.
Oh, is that the letter?
Yes.
Oh, is that me? I'm out here? Oh, wow.
Well, or maybe Kevin come back up afterwards or something?
Sorry, we do have to keep it moving along. It's been about 10 minutes for this.
Oh, has it?
Yes.
No, I know, it's, yeah, well,
Well, can I
it's,
just ask, are you at Ninth in Montana?
yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking about just walking up there because I'm trying to visualize.
Cool. Yeah, I saw you when you left that.
Here, so you're at Ninth in Montana, and it's 9/11 Montana?
Got 909 and 911.
Okay.
Okay, we received a public comment from, thank you. From Candace Bond. It's posted on the agenda. Candace Bond was previously employed by the City Planning Department in May 2025, suffered a seizure and fell, resulting in spinal injury and surgery by UCLA Hospital, resulted in paralysis of legs and now in a wheelchair after 30 years living at 2521 Centinela Avenue at Apartment B in Santa Monica. I am told it's not safe for me to return to my home. The landlord has been in contact with Blake Stavros, ADA person for the city. I'm being told they are in agreement that the new portable ramps, electric wheelchair, or me Toyota Stairwalker are not acceptable, and I am not allowed to move back home. They mention it is not safe or possible, as the building cannot offer me a bottom floor stair-free apartment, and because the building was built in the 40s. I'm in intensive physical therapy with good results and almost ready to be discharged, but told I cannot go home. Please help in any way possible. Regards, Candace. Thank you for that public comment, and it's on the record. Okay, I'm gonna keep the,
Do we act on that, or is that just something?
this is the non-agenda items. So there's kind of, yeah, is it in our purview, and we don't act on that. So that's where it gets a little tricky. And there are guardrails, so I mean, this isn't.
So we just hear the letter?
Yeah. So I'm going to keep it moving to public input, agenda items under special agenda items and consent calendar only. Do we have any public comments on number 2? Okay, I'm going to keep it moving. We had 3A, our presentation. So I'm going to go to 3B. Just shared some resources, they're follow-ups or things we've talked about. One, last month we had Legal Aid do a presentation, and I'm sharing the self-help resources they talked about, so the public and the community has that available. B2, there's huge changes to behavioral health, and the state releases new versions of the policy guidelines periodically. They just released Module 4, and the public has the opportunity to provide public comment for the next few weeks. So I encourage the community and members of the commission, if they have thoughts, to please submit them to the state on how to improve behavioral health in our state and in our county. Also, there's a huge 3B3 Senate Bill 43. There's huge changes starting January 1st. Senate Bill 43, let me pull it up real quick. I'm sharing a resource from the LA County Department of Mental Health, but Senate Bill 43 makes changes to the Lanterman-Peters Short Act, known as the LPS Act. It's the law governing involuntary detention, treatment, and conservatorship for people with behavioral health conditions. It's about a 50-year-old law, and these are the biggest changes since that law has come out. This is a huge deal. It was passed 2 years ago, but the state gave us, we're implementing it start January 1. It's a huge shift to the the rules around if you're considered a danger to yourself, a danger to others, or meet the criteria for grave disability. So I just wanted to share that resource from the County Department of Mental Health. The community and people should know about this and just be.
Where's that now? I'm terribly sorry.
It's 3B3.
It's 3B.
I. 3B III.
Not the module, Senate Bill 43?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's 3B3.
Yeah, maybe I could have had a better hyperlink title, but it's the changes to the LPS Act.
Petrus-Lanterman Act.
Yes. And this resource, it's in multiple languages. It gives a high-level overview of the changes. This is critical for us to know, and it's a big topic in the community.
Good changes or bad changes?
I just want to share what the information is. We'll see. It hasn't been implemented yet.
You kind of sound like,
It's just a huge change. It's the biggest change in 50 years. So
you don't know exactly what that change would be?
it changes what the elements of a grave disability are. It broadened it. It's a big change. It's hard to know the impacts, but it's just a big change. That's what I want people to know because it is a big change.
It affects the gravely disabled portion? Or does it danger to self, danger to others too?
All those components, and this resource gives I would encourage you to take a look. I don't have it memorized off the top of my head, and I don't want to mischaracterize it, but I would say definitely take a look on this. Commissioner Royale?
They just actually have like lots of changes at once. And that's what makes it complicated. Nobody understands how it's gonna be worked or not. So it's just like, it will be affect like everything, including those people with disability, how to qualify them, what service they will use for them. So I mean, it's like huge.
And the resource, it has frequently asked questions and an executive summary, a high-level summary in multiple languages. So it's just an educational resource to learn about this big change. All right, next item is 3B. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Adiyami.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Chair. In other words, so this bill, in lieu of my reading it, I suppose it's about involuntary commutation, right?
That's one piece of it.
Yeah, but the thing of it is I used to be an EMT, which is an emergency medical technician, and it was known as 5150, 72 hours, and it was a protection against people, so that the maximum would be 72 hours. And I'm fearful, I'm not, that they're broadening it to where they could do involuntary commitment indefinitely, which kind of scares me, because the original Petrus-Lanterman Act was that they can't hold anybody more than 72 hours. And they'd have to have a really legitimate cause. You know, somebody would have to say, I'm gonna kill somebody, or I'm gonna kill myself, or, you know, that they're so incapacitated that they can't care for themselves. So that's what I know about it. That's why, Chair Elliott, I wasn't trying to be questioning you too much, but I have a feeling that it's not a good thing, that they're gonna be broadening it to where they can do an involuntary commitment for an indefinite period of time. I'm not sure, but just based on my knowledge as an emergency medical technician, it was done to protect the individual rights of someone. Because they used to lock people up in Napa for months on end. So that was the protection.
Yeah, I would just encourage, I just wanted to have the information on what's coming January 1st in one place from an official source. So this is available to us and in the community to learn more about what's coming on January 1st.
So that's January 1st of
2026.
Senate Bill 43.
Next item is 3B4, National Council on Disabilities 2025 Annual Report. I like sharing data and reports on what's going on at a high level nationally, and this is just a good report from a good organization on the state of disability. There's a lot of challenges coming up just with what's going on, so I just wanted to share that with the community. 3B5, it's kind of tied to our presentation today, just on how people with disabilities access the internet or access websites and technology. This is a good site from the W3C, who writes the guidelines, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. They have a lot of great documentation, so I tried to curate something that was topical for what we're talking about. So the community might want to read that, and the commission as well, how people, sometimes when we talk about tech, it gets real technical. This is just kind of like how human beings use it in their day-to-day. It's more, I like how it's written. Similarly, 3B6, the California Department of Rehabilitation has a web accessibility toolkit. It just has resources on how to make digital spaces accessible. In the spirit of not recreating wheels, I thought this might be a good wheel for the city and the community to have. And the Department of Rehab, I believe, is the leader in the state around digital accessibility, so they have some good practices we can emulate or adapt to our environment. 3B7, this is a follow-up to many, so this is a journal article, an academic article about the way the census catches, and other surveys capture data about disability. And I know I keep honing on this, but I've seen city council meetings, the aging plan, the aging and disability plan, and they keep using census data as a proxy of how many people in Santa Monica have a disability, and it's an undercount. And this specific part of this article says why, gives the language for them. And the hope is, if they're gonna use that, I wanna see this paragraph from this article in there. It says the limitations of the census data and how it undercounts. So I'm trying to help them out, because one of my recommendations is if you're gonna use that data, we need context, because you can't just say 11% without the context, or whatever the low number is, when we know it's, rule of thumb, it's 1 in 4 people have a disability. So when I see, in an official meeting or an official planning session, using census data without context, that's gonna undercount us, less resources, less money. So we have to be able to count us. And if we don't have a good measure, use the measure you have and provide the context offered by the experts who have worked on the census, these are the experts. And this section of the article, the example statement when using ACS 6 questions, which are the 6 questions in the census, that's the context. So we've done the work for them, and I'm just gonna leave it at that, because I'm a little frustrated, because I want them to hear this. Okay. I'm gonna keep it moving to 5A. We didn't have quorum, so we gotta approve a couple of minutes. So if you haven't had a chance to review for October's and November's, and if you are here, if you'd like to make a motion. Sorry, Chair, Commissioner Antonini.
I move that we accept the minutes from the October meeting.
I second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And when someone has a chance, who was here in November,
I move we approve the November minutes.
I second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. We're good on that, right? Okay. Yeah, that's typical, but sorry, I went a little too quick. But typically, if you're not here, you abstain from, that's why I was trying to say only if you were here for October move. Yeah, but I should clarify that stuff, sorry. Okay. Number 6, again, open it up to the public input on remaining agenda items. Do we have any input from the public? Nope. Okay. So I'm going to move to 9, Actually, I'm gonna just jump around just because I want to knock this out real quick. I'm gonna go to 9A4, discussion and possible action on sunsetting the 25-26 annual work plan completion ad hoc. Can Commissioner Antonini, Clark Arroyo, can one of you just move to close this? We've already completed all the work, we just couldn't sunset it because we didn't have a quorum. So if I could have someone move to close that, sunset it.
I move to close that, sunset it.
All right, let me. So we have Clark and Antonini second. Thanks for all your hard work. We turned it in by the deadline, so we're good. All right, sorry. We're gonna now go back to the, sorry to jump around. 9A, reports from ad hoc committees and liaisons and discussion and possible action on reestablishing or establishing additional ones. 1, the ad hoc committee on AI opportunities and risks. I tried to get a draft in. It's not perfect, so before we even get into it, it's a draft. I'm open to any thoughts on it. If it missed the mark, it was really hard to get all the information we've gathered over years with all the evolutions, because even some stuff there's been laws that passed on stuff we were talking, like it's been hitting a moving target. There's so much information. This is my try, and also it's been open a while, and typically ad hocs are shorter term, so I was feeling a lot of factors, so I wanted to get some today to react to. So feel free to dissect it. I'm not, whatever you like, don't like. I wanted to just take some time to read it, and if you have any feedback on the note, feel free to talk about it now or send it to me. But
Do you have a goal of when you would like to get this submitted? Other than,
I mean,
today, of course.
if it's perfect, we can submit it after this meeting. We can, if we can say, submit it with these additions. That's, I was thinking there's probably, like, I already see a typo. There's a hyperlink that's missing. So, like, we can submit it with changes you see right now. I can say, give you guys a couple weeks and get it in by the next one. I'm opening it up. I just wanted to get something to react to, so we got to sunset this one too. And
There's a deadline, right?
yes, in the sense that this has been open a little too long. This,
So is this something that we vote on to get it sent?
we can, if you guys love it, with no feedback, or,
I mean, did you want me to talk? Can I make a comment?
yeah, any thoughts on it?
I just want to commend you. This is way over my head, but just basically looking that, you did all this on your own?
It was definitely a collaboration.
Joint effort, yeah.
Chair Anthony, excuse me, Commissioner Anthony, whoever worked on this is just, basically, it looks like you covered, just hats off to you for putting a tremendous amount of work into this. For whoever worked on it, all of you. And it looks like you're, basically what I'm getting from the language is that you're really being protective and covering the bases. Because I'm scared to death of this AI stuff. And it's way over my head, and I think it looks like it's very well written, like you covered all the bases. I'd like to propose that we put it up to a vote and get it sent to city council.
That'll definitely be it will get to city council, but there may be some minor edits at this meeting we could talk about.
Well, if they're gonna just nitpick something like there was a comma that's wrong, it looks like it's pretty well put together. I don't know.
But just a couple
Yeah.
questions. So we're going down to the third paragraph here. So we open up and it's nice, and AI has a lot of potential. The third one, the highlighted blue are they all links?
Hyperlinks, yeah.
Hyperlinks. Right, and so I see back here the sort of the overall recommendations, and they're great. When I first read it, I felt it was all like, here's all the dangers, and then I looked back again and it talks about opportunities. I just wondering, without having dove into this deeply, do you think there's a good balance between risks and opportunities?
it's hard to get everything into a 3-page letter. That, like, Anthony, he had so much good stuff, and just, I was like, how do you, because I frankly, I don't think they're gonna read a 20-page report. The state has already created that, so it's like, also within our purview, like, I think what I thought I did okay on is the recommendations. I thought these are reasonable recommendations, like the ADA coordinator needs to be involved in this stuff. I'm hoping that this starts, again, a collaboration, that we're in the mix with this technology. It's moving fast. I mean, by the time we meet next, there's gonna be a new version of all these models. There's stuff that's coming out today. There may be another federal rule, like, so every month there's stuff. So I think, the spirit of nothing about us without us is key. I think, back to our thing today, there's opportunity is to help with accessibility, making things accessible. I think there's opportunities to learn from other places,
Yeah.
learn from mistakes they've made so we don't do them here. I think sharing what we do well there, sharing what we don't do well, so someone who implements behind us doesn't do that. I think that's, so,
So I think my only concern, and I think you hit on it, is someone going, it's great information and the recommendations make pure sense. Is someone gonna read it, who we need to read it? And just wondering whether it can be, there's these 2 paragraphs, all these hyperlinks, and they're all great. But is it going to result in them going into the council going, oh, include ADA coordinator, find AA tools, okay, I get it. That would just be, is it gonna have the desired effect?
that's the $1,000,000 question. Let me get to, I have a response, but sorry, I'm hogging. Commissioner Gordon, Commissioner Adiana, and me, and then Vice Chair. Gordon?
Okay, me first. Based on my experience of going to the Housing Commission, I've gotten that city council pretty much shines us, because we're just like the Disability Commission Housing. But the important thing is to get the language in, so it's on record. Because I was gonna discuss that when you get to me on, well, what is that, 7II, when you get to me, when I give my thing, if you want me to wait for that. But that's basically what we've been up against in the Housing Commission and with us, is they do shine it, but to get the language in. So at least it's in there. And then I'll comment on that when you get to me, about the experience at the Housing Commission when they submitted something. So I'll get to that.
Commissioner Adiemi?
Yes. If you will write something in 2.5 pages, I think this is comprehensive.
Yeah.
To summarize, something like this will be eliminating something or omitting something. So having a comprehensive write-up is better than insufficient write-up. And at present, we see what the opportunities can be, but we cannot predict what the risk will be. And there's always a risk with every new technology, right?
Commissioner Royale?
I think it's like a lot of work to put everything together. So, and it probably will be a lot of work for a city council to read it. So, but we have to start with something, and I think we have to submit as it is, and just have some sort of opinion. So from them, and if they're not satisfied with anything, we can always amend. That's kind of like, so, but we have to kind of like put something out. So for them to understand that we exist and we are kind of like thinking about all these topics.
Yeah, just strategy-wise, this topic is going to come up again, so maybe there'll be another ad hoc with a smaller scope, like assistive technologies. Like, we just jumped on the whole thing. Like, that's a lot to digest. Yeah, so this is just, this is the beginning of a long thing. one piece. And also part of it, like Commissioner Gordon, getting it on the record. So now the community has these hyperlinks to learn more about it. Just, it'll be on the records. You can never make people do anything, but you can get them one step away from if they choose to. So we can always do that. I think that's what I try and do. Like, I've created a lot of documents that I thought were great over the years, and a lot of them don't get read, but I know that when they're ready to get read, they're one step away, they're one click away, so that's important. So this is not the everything. We'll continue this, but there also are there's guidelines about ad hocs. This has been open for over a year, so there's also that piece is that I want to close this, get something on record. We already have a ton of information that's gonna inform the next ad hoc we have on this topic. We have a library of stuff to work on this now. So there's the B list of stuff that's not on here is gonna help more ad hocs on this topic and other topics. So that was one thing, is like, I wasn't sure there's more hyperlinks, there's more journal articles, there's more insights, like, what do we do with that? That was one of my struggles, because not all the work is here. Like, do we do a reference sheet, or that was something I wanted feedback on, but someone in the queue, Commissioner Antonini?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for putting this together. My original draft, I think, was like, more than 3 times as long. So this is definitely good to like distill the, most important parts here. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about, it might be helpful for us to take some of the, items in the first page where we do kind of have all these references that we've collected, and maybe move that to the end as kind of an appendix. Because then we could like, I guess it would be, I think, maybe helpful to get some of the recommendations like starting on the first page, so that they know that, okay, there actually are like set of concrete recommendations, even if they just like only look at the first page. So apart from the like just minor like rearranging the, where text goes, I think it looks really good. So yeah, unfortunately I have not had the chance to look at it before this meeting, since I've been otherwise occupied at home. But yeah, maybe I can give one go through it in the next week, and then we can vote on it in the next meeting. Does that sound good?
Yeah, how about, so the next meeting is what, January?
14th.
And when's the agenda due?
About 5 days prior.
So can you get me 12 day, can you get it to me by January 2nd?
Yeah, for sure.
But we have, Thomas, we have to vote on this, right?
It has to be on the agenda. If you want to cast a vote, the vote has to be an agenda item. So it's not on tonight's agenda to vote, so you can't really.
So I'm gonna agendize this next meeting. So I'm gonna open it up. This is a lot. So I'm gonna say the cutoff to get me feedback, email, any format, you can track changes, tell me this sucks, whatever works for you. January 2nd via email, you can call. First, I'm probably not gonna look at it until January 4th, so.
No. We submit on 31st of December.
If you wanted to.
That's how I'll be spending the last minutes of 2025. Yeah.
Last minute.
So.
Happy New Year.
So I think next steps is we'll agendize this to approve it with all your feedback between now and January 2nd, to give me a week before I have to turn in the agenda to.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
So we're not up against it, we're not gonna be screwed where they're gonna say.
No.
Oh, okay, that's what I was worried.
There's no like externally imposed deadline here. It's all
Yeah.
internal motivation, let's say.
Okay, so this is a thing where they said it's like a budget, like a kind of, like the 25, 26 thing.
No.
There's no deadline.
But I think the deadline ad hocs are time limited, and I think we're pushing that boundary with this ad hoc. So
But
moving
when we
forward,
get- long as we get-
once we get this one, moving forward, ad hoc should be less time than this one has been. But this is
okay.
just a monster topic and things
Well,
happen.
how long, was it like an ad hoc supposed to be like a month or something, or what is that?
So just to clarify, we'll have the vote next meeting and then a vote to sunset the ad hoc next meeting?
Yeah, a vote for approval of a draft based on the feedback I'm gonna get between now and next meeting. And I'm hoping we'll get approval of a letter with all this feedback we're gonna get, and we'll sunset both, so that we'll knock out two things with this ad hoc. So any ideas, thoughts on just improving it, rearranging, what to do with all the additional resources that didn't make it? I'm open to everything, and you'll see what I come up with in the draft. So thanks, everyone. I think this is a step forward, and we're almost there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Just to close out this topic, I just shared some resources on this topic. I'm not going to get into each one, but they're related to AI or kind of topical to the earlier presentation. And again, just making helpful stuff available to the community. Maybe just point out the U.S. Access Board had a really good webinar on risks and benefits of AI by people with disabilities, and there's a link to the webinar video and in the draft letter to the PowerPoint slides. Okay, so any last thoughts before I move it? All right, 9A2, report from the Housing Commission, Planning Commission, and Architectural Review Board meetings. Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, wow. Thanks. Yes.
Is your mic on?
Yes. Now, I went to Housing Commission last week. And so we're still trying to fight that good fight. Chair Gordon, for those of you who were here, no relation, but Chair Gordon was here a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys remember that. So it was really great. So I go to her meeting. She was thinking about being here this week. But we have huge problems. Like that letter really that was written really got to me. Because it kind of weaves into the lady that had the seizure, because that really gets me as to these buildings that are going up, that even forget about BMH, below market housing, where they're exempt from doing that now, offsite affordable housing, forget about that. But that none of these units are going to be equipped for wheelchair, like the bathrooms and the railings, not even one or two dedicated units, there's no requirement. So that letter really got me. But the fact of the matter is there is some, so there's that. So we're still trying to fight that. That with the Planning Commission has been having a lot of cancellations. I don't know if it's the holidays. ARB, I think there's an ARB meeting next week. ARB is getting canceled. Planning Commission cancels quite a bit. And then as far as Landmarks Commission, I think I missed one of those meetings. But Landmarks Commission really actually goes right into what this gentleman was saying. The one thing that protects us is the Landmarks Commission as far as getting some of these buildings designated a landmark. So I think that's one thing that we have in our hand to stop this bulldozer from coming in, literally and figuratively. So I'm going to continue to work with Chair Gordon on that. We also there was some language that they sent this is what I want to comment on as far as getting the language sent in. There was some language that was sent in about the BMH. There is a specific tier for who qualifies for BMH. I think there's 3 tiers. I should have brought it with me, the Housing Commission. There's 4 tiers. So it starts with seniors, disabled people, and then maybe people who have been chronically homeless. There is a particular hotel workers union. I used to be a member of that union up in San Francisco, who has come into city council and thrown their weight around and has demanded that they leapfrog above the top tier, which would be, seniors, vets, disabled, and those who've been chronically homeless, because their claim is that because they work here 25 hours a week at the hotel, that they should have a right to live here, and that they should be given precedence against the people who are built into that tier, which would be the seniors, disabled, vets, at people who are, who've been chronically homeless. So they sent language to city council, the housing commission sent language to city council saying, no, you have to adhere to the BMH tiered system. They're coming in, the workers are coming in and trying to get city council to violate that. So what I wanted to do is, I thought Chair Gordon might be here tonight. I want to get with her and see if I can get the language that the Housing Commission had sent to city council. The reason being is when I went to the Housing Commission meeting, there were some people from the city attorney's office who showed up. When I went to the Housing Commission meeting, that two people from the city attorney's office showed up. And so, it was comment to me confidentially. I won't, it was a confidential comment that was made to me that, that there's a reason why the people from the city attorney's office showed up, and because of the language that's submitted. You know, we don't know that, but the fact that they showed up kind of was interesting. So my point is that I think it'd be a good idea to see if we can borrow their language and submit it on behalf of the Disability Commission, that they will respect the current BMH tiered system, and see what happens. Because that's the point I want to make. As long as we get the language in there, it's putting them on notice. And then they may kind of push back and have some people from the city show up, you know, like from the city attorney's office, but it gets their attention. And I think that's an important thing to do. That's one thing I have learned in the past, is as long as you're getting the language in, you're on record. You know, if they shine us, they shine us. But the fact that the city attorney's office showed up, that was commented that, you know, I think maybe got their attention. And I think I'm still gonna continue to try to go to these other meetings, and that's basically it. That's my report.
We have Commissioner Royale, Vice Chair, Commissioner Anthony, Commissioner Royale.
Can we borrow those city attorney office people to be here? We have kind of like a repeated issue, repeated complaints about accessible parking and how it's regulated with the city. So, and how the city not even trying to actually be involved and leaving everything to kind of be solved between tenant and landlord. But the city actually can kind of like talk to landlord and enforce existing law. For some reason, the city of Santa Monica kind of like leaving it in aside. They don't want to be involved in those kind of like issues. And I'm wondering, I would really like to hear from the city of Santa Monica Attorney Office, like why we're leaving disabled people behind, why disabled people in the city treated so badly on a matter of housing and parking. Like what the heck is going on here? Why nobody helping those people promptly? So because as best as I know, they denying even like be involved. If somebody submitting complaint to them, they saying, well, we're closing. So they don't want to be involved. So to me, it's kind of like really strong sign that somebody finally will sue the city. So because the city kind of like doing nothing, where they're supposed to be involved. That's why I'm saying, like, let's invite those people over here and kind of like try to figure it out if they can help somebody, how they can help, like why the situation as it is. So I don't know.
Vice Chair, Commissioner Anthony.
Commissioner Gordon, the BHS, was it? Is that
No, BMH,
BMH?
which is below market housing.
Thank you. I believe that the senior and disabled is a new proposal from the Housing Commission, right? Because based upon our conversation, it wasn't, this is what they're trying to elevate senior and disabled into the list, correct?
That's what I'm trying to wrap. I think your recommendation to see the language is because now I'm my head's a little.
Right. During our conversation with Chair Gordon a while ago, it was, hey, that's a great idea.
Were you were?
Right here, but when we had a separate,
Oh, okay.
right, it
The
was,
three-
hey,
the three of you.
this is a great idea for us to focus on seniors and disabled community. So the question then is this part of a new proposal, or because I'd love to know if that's now been submitted based upon the conversations that we've had with them. So,
Right. Because I remember that was pretty old. That's going back all the way, I think, I'd have to, I should have brought the tiered system with me. About 6 months, or maybe in the summer, like August. Because I think that was before the three of you had your conversation. Because, and the impression I got is that was something that was agreed to. That the tiered system of, because I've been going to some city council meetings, but they're hours and hours and hours. But then I have gone to a few of them, and I have noticed that the hotel workers have been coming in and demanding that they get leapfrogged over what that was. So I thought that was something that was formal. I did. That was something that the city was supposed to adhere to as far as BMH. That's the impression I got with the Housing Commission. But then they wanted to strengthen, they wanted to put the language in like in the form of a declaration, just to say it's in here. We're making it, like a declaration that you acknowledge that you're supposed to adhere to that. I could be wrong, but I wanted to at least copy their language, and if we could send it. Because lo and behold, when they sent that, you had some people from the city attorney's office showing up. I don't know if it's because of that, but it got their attention.
Commissioner Antonini?
Yeah, I guess one thing that maybe worries me about the Landmarks Commission, like sort of, aggressively landmarking buildings kind of to prevent some of these developments is that almost by definition, the buildings that they're landmarking are old buildings and, are not ADA compliant. So if the goal is to build more ADA compliant housing and make sure that there's enough housing for people with disabilities, like, trying to get the Landmarks Commission to halt developments by landmarking buildings just seems to me to be the wrong way to go about it. I mean, it seems like the goal really should be to make sure that when there is new development, it includes accessible housing units.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That you're, it's like I was tempted, like with one of these, I was so upset by these monstrosities. I'd made a comment to somebody, it'd be nice to go to some Indian artifact store and get some arrowheads and just like throw them on the ground and say you can't build these, because I'm all for that too. I don't think it's right to go after these poor landlords. And I had made this, oh yeah, I don't think you were here. It was when Lawful was here with these buildings from the 1920s, because that's not the problem. What gets me, it just really makes me sick to my stomach, is when I go to ARB, they're approving these monstrosities with no parking. They're removing the fire exits, and approving that, so there's only one fire exit. There's nothing that they mention. When I ask them, they get real squirrely. They're worm-like. When I ask them if there's any bathrooms in any of these units where somebody like this poor woman in a wheelchair can get in there, or ground units or even an elevator that would accommodate a wheelchair, where she can go into a bathroom and there's the railings, where she can lift herself up and get into, there's nothing like that. Most of them, they don't have any parking, like Bergamot Station, because that's what I was appalled. They want to build 770 units with no parking at Bergamot Station. And in those streets too. And ARB's hands are tied because it's coming from Sacramento. It's Newsom and Bonta and Wiener. I don't know if you're saying, like, if you don't approve these, if you not once, not twice, 3 times, we're going to sue you. So, now people are starting to push back. I don't know if you guys have seen Santa Monica Daily Press, that they're really angry at, Jesse Zwick, Ed Zwick's son. Ed Zwick is a big-time producer. And, that he's in bed with the developers. I didn't know that, I guess they do musical chairs or musical mayors. I guess the mayor's song, it's not Mayor, Negretti's not the mayor anymore?
No,
I think
just,
it rotates once a year or something
yeah,
like
it
that.
Oh,
rotates, so
okay.
there's a new mayor, mayor pro tem as of yesterday, Mayor Terosis, and pro tem is Zwick, and then in a year it'll go again.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just, with all due respect, I think the answer is not to force these little mom and pops to be compliant. It's to see what we can do to go after Sacramento, to force them with these buildings that aren't even built yet, to make sure that you've got units that are ADA compliant and have parking. Because that's the other thing with Bergamot Station, they don't want there to be streets. And Arb had come up and she said, I said, well, I'm sorry about that. I don't think we can approve that. We need emergency vehicles to go into an area where they have 770 units. I mean, how is it that EMS or the fire department can go in there if there's no accessibility? That's what's going on with that. But there's just, I mean, they're going up all over town across from Escobar. That's gonna be 21 stories. And so I don't mean to go on and on, but I'm just trying to let you know it's happening. We gotta see if we can sue them federally for not doing the ADA for that, That's all I got to say.
Commissioner Royale, or?
Yeah, I would like to just kind of like understand. I believe the below market housing is the same. It's just like some of a kind of affordable housing, right?
There are some variations. It's confusing to me. There is a difference between the classification of affordable and BMH.
But BMH actually kind of supposed to comply with federal and state regulation, right? As the same as affordable housing project.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
below-
but they're getting an exemption. These developers and.
That's what I'm kind of like have a question about. So if they had exemption, if they're using federal funds and state funds, they're supposed to comply with law and regulation, and they're supposed to have a certain amount of percentage of unit for each project to be ADA units and ADA parking. So I'm not understand why the city even have that problem and why they approving projects with no ADA and no like parking for disabled. So, and also I would like to mention, even if they do have handicap parking in a building, even in an existing building, they do have problem with regulation in the city of Santa Monica. Nobody wants to regulate. Nobody wants to comply. So that's the question which I'm trying to raise as a private person, not a commissioner, but I see like lots of people like raising the same questions. So because like even if it's exists, somebody always taking it and city doing nothing. So I think that's the kind of like problem we should start addressing with like, I don't know, mayor.
Well, yeah, I know, like Santa Monica I'm sorry, I apologize.
Commissioner Adiemi?
Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the perception that there is no vigorous enforcement by the housing.
Commissioner, can you put your?
Yes, thank you. I think the perception by landlords, especially the big ones, 700 units, 300 units, that there is no such mandatory enforcement of the ADA compliance in terms of the parking, gives them the, the umbrage to say, oh, well, we're not going to worry about it. Nobody's going to bother us. And I took it upon myself once, a few years ago, to request parking space for the disabled. And that 300 unit, but they didn't do anything about it. And so this is like the Commissioner Rea mentioned, if they don't see any action on behalf of the housing, and I would like Commissioner Gordon to call the chair back at some point,
You want me to do it now?
to call the chair, the housing chairperson.
You
to
mean,
come
Chair
back here.
Gordon?
Yes.
Oh,
Commissioner
yeah,
Gordon.
I text her.
Okay, so when she comes back, we would like to have the opportunity to ask her, why is there no such enforcement in terms of concern for parking?
The city doesn't want to enforce, that's the problem.
Well, the problem is, see, they used to have what's called SMR, Santa Monica's for Veterans' Rights, and they actually were legitimately kind of like a grassroots activist. That has been hijacked by the developers. And then with the developers, so Santa Monicans for Renters' Rights are pretty much, the developers took over and bankrolled it and put a slate together of the current city council that are pretty much in bed with the developers, like Zwick, and there's quite a few other ones are there. They didn't even really have to campaign like the other city council members, because I show up to all these events. They just kind of were just ushered in, because they had a lot of money behind them. And so they're kind of working for the developers under the guise of being SMR, Santa Monica Renters' Rights, which is a huge joke, because it's not affordable and it's not BMH. You know, like if you've noticed these buildings, and people are starting to take notice, though. There was a huge thing in the Santa Monica Daily Press. People are getting very upset. There are names that are getting signed. I think they're gonna get petitions together that the actual true Santa Monica residents like us are getting really upset. I think that I've been going to more and more different meetings. I go to Lighthouse Church, you know, across the street from the Gap. They're gonna demolish the Gap and build 20 stories there. But, you know, it's all over the place. But the bottom line is more and more people are starting to get more and more upset by this. People are, I think, starting to wake up. That's a good thing. They're noticing that, and I brought up like Catherine, you know, that Fisher Lumber, we're across it. It's pretty much empty. So so these developers can't make to you know, this is a huge tax write-off for them, where I don't even really think they want the buildings to be occupied. Because there's no signs of life. There's maybe 10 units, you know, that are there. So I guess I'm not trying to be round wordy, but the point I'm trying to make is this is not about solving the homeless crisis or affordable housing. It's just a big shell game. It's, you know.
I think there were some good ideas to bring up for 13A. So about future agenda, there were some good ideas from that. Thank you, Gordon, for your work and showing up and bringing the information back. I'm going to move it to our next ad hoc report from the Santa Monica website Quality Assurance ad hoc. Anthony and Vice Chair and Royale. Gordon?
Who, me?
Sorry, Gordon, Commissioner Gordon?
Was I?
No, sorry, yeah, I think that was a misfire. Vice Chair?
Yeah, I don't, that's my last one, I don't really have an update on it. I think you did the biggest heavy lifting, which is getting the CIO in here, and now having someone who's raised their hand from the city of Santa Monica that we can approach. So I think that's a big step forward, which will help us direct. I think a step would be to have a side meeting. Jeremy, was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, to have a side meeting, just learn. For me, I'd like to learn a little bit more about their processes and what they do. And then that helps us focus on how we can be supportive to them. I think that's just a huge step in the direction. I know you've tried for several years to make that happen, so kudos to you on that. Thank you.
I'll chime in, but Commissioner Royal?
Yeah, I think we need more information to be obtained from those two guys who made that representation today.
Right.
So,
And I'll chime in for a second. I think we have a lot of resources already to work with. I think now we have a point of contact. And just high-level ad hoc, something I want to do in this term is just, for ad hocs, I like to take like a GPS approach. Like, you're going the right course, and then you're off course, and then at the GPS, like, okay, so today we were going a certain course. Oh, now we have a person who can help us. You know, you're on AI. Oh, now a lock comes on. So like, it's being adaptive. So like a GPS, a growth mindset, new information comes in, you get off course. So I think I just wanted to bring that as an ad hoc approach, is the open mindset, growth mindset, GPS. So just wanted to add that, but I think this was a step forward. Now we have a person, there's templates. How do we put our information we've curated in a template and moving forward, when we get new stuff, we have a point of contact. So I think we're moving forward. But Commissioner Royale.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned about those templates. I would like to see how it's actually like on hand. So somebody probably can show or something for us to understand how we can actually put all this information we have already, all those links, and structure properly with the website they are building.
Do you have?
Yeah.
Let me. You're in queue. There you go.
So as a next step, I'll follow up with Jeremy. They're not making a website now, and that's my question. I think their resources are predominantly focused right now on integrating everything into one package. It was very interesting that they have editors, category editors. So so I'll set up something, open it up, we can all join and just have a little more discussion, go a little deeper with Jeremy and whoever else on his team.
Good, I think it will be like January, December 31st.
Yeah, well, of course. January 1st, I'll be great.
I think,
8
yeah.
a.m.
No, I think you guys have good steps, a point of contact, an approach, and I'd even direct them to some of the great stuff look at our agendas. We have some good stuff. Cool, and any more updates or keep it moving? Okay. We already did the next one. We sunsetted the annual work plan. Next item, discussion and possible action on creating new ad hoc. So at some point, I'm going to start an ad hoc on our public hearing. I'm not ready to do that now because we're going to appoint someone new, so that might be a good opportunity for a new member. And there's not going to get much done by me between now and January 1st, but that will happen because before this term ends, I want to have a public hearing, and I'm thinking June makes sense. So maybe doing the ad hoc January, February, having it go till June, sunset in July. But, GPS approach, we'll see what happens. So that's one idea, but just want to open it up and always think about something you're interested in. At some point, we'll sunset this AI ad hoc, and I'm sure there's subtopics within that. Like at some point, I want to get into assistive technology specifically as an idea, but first things first, the public hearing. But just want to open it up. And if you don't have anything, that's fine too. We can just think about it always. There's always opportunity to do an ad hoc, to make a recommendation. And this is a path to get something, on city agendas or city council's radar. Vice Chair.
So Commissioner Gordon, if we get information back on the below market housing and the order, that might be something, a quick ad hoc and a letter. I think that would be the typical approach to do so. So if we hear from from Chair Gordon, really what's going on and how, what is the hierarchy? Is it changing? Is it not? And if we have a recommendation to support Chair Gordon on seniors and disabilities, I think that's great. And that would be an ad hoc that perhaps you could open. But right now, I don't know if we have the information to make that determination.
To add on that, like something like an ad hoc on language around behavioral, on below market housing language, something like that, priority lists.
Well, no, but I mean, don't you want me to just get the language they sent? That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You get that and then give it to you guys.
Yeah, we want that, but if you wanted it to lead to an action, an ad hoc would be a path.
Oh, okay, so we get the language, and I can talk to Chair Gordon, and then we put an ad hoc together with people here? Is that how it works?
That's a path, yeah.
And then send it. So we can't just, okay, so we have to do an ad hoc first.
Do you want to chime in here?
Trying to think of the answer, if I have the answer. I think if you want to form an opinion as a committee and as a commission and submit that, you have to vote on that. So
Right, that's, they did the language, I remember that, with the with the housing commission. I remember when I went to all the housing commission meetings, they did go back and forth and back and forth, and they were really worried about the language, what if they say this and that? And then the housing, I think the old chair had said, or one of the commissioners said, you know, we've been back and forth, let's just go ahead and just send it as is and get it to city council, because I just want to put them on notice. That's what I remembered, and then they put it up to a vote.
To my knowledge, that has not been submitted to city council yet. Everything that's been discussed on the BMH priority list.
Well, it was before you were here.
Well, I think it's still an ongoing discussion as of a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really? Yeah, because you hadn't started here yet. It was some guy that was filling in. Okay. I thought they sent it. I could check with Chair Gordon on that.
Just to summarize, I think it's I think it's an ongoing conversation and still to be sorted out.
Oh,
I have Commissioner Royale, Gordon, Antonini. Commissioner Royale?
I think we can kind of like search information online about below market housing, how it's qualified, or like what the resources they give in, so what the rules applies, etc., etc. So, and then like kind of compare the information and then summarize everything together and put it out.
back in May.
So, but I pretty sure that we can find information online about all of this, no?
And if you're volunteering to curate that and bring it,
Someone to raise their hand.
yeah,
They're gonna do it and take the lead.
or
Well-
you can do that, or you can
Well,
ask someone already working
anyway,
on it.
I'm still kind of like working with about that parking issues. I'm still kind of like going back and forth with all these policies. It's kind of like I can spend time to look up. So, but I'm not promised that I will create some sort of document for everybody to review. So, but yeah, no problem.
Commissioner Gordon, then Commissioner Anthony.
Oh,
Commissioner
you want me to
Gordon.
say something?
Or no, you were in the queue.
Oh, was I?
Was that accident? Because Commissioner Antonini?
I was just going to say that sort of the point of making the ad hoc for this or that would just be that it would empower you guys to, you know, meet outside of the ordinary commission meetings of the whole commission. And you could like, you know, do your research, talk, collaborate, you know, come to some consensus and then come to the commission and say like, okay, here's what, you know, we've figured out and here's our recommendations. You know, it's always possible you could just like come and say like, come to a commission meeting as long as it's on the agenda and say like, I've written up this thing, I want everyone to vote on it. But, you know, it's good to have the ad hoc to have like other people who can collaborate and, you know, work on that, whatever the topic is together.
Right, so, yeah, that's, we have.
Commissioner Gordon?
People kind of split off outside of the meeting. Yeah, I thought that's what we were doing. I've been flying solo, but yeah. Yeah, so let's do an ad hoc on. That's what we've been doing, right? You guys have been doing that?
That's like the AI was an ad hoc,
Yeah, okay.
and then they sunset. They're time limited.
So you're saying Commissioner Antonini that you want us to do an ad hoc on the BMH thing? Is that what you mean?
I was just saying, I mean, there was. I think I'm just saying that yes, that's an option. That's what having the ad hoc would permit you to do. So if it would be helpful for you and others to research this and talk about it kind of outside of the context of, you know, the ordinary disabilities, full disabilities commissions meetings like that, that's what the ad hoc would allow you to do. So.
So we form one and talk to Chair Gordon and that's it, and if other people want to meet outside this meeting, is that what you want to do? Is that how you want to do it?
So I have Commissioner Royale and then Commissioner Adeyemi. Commissioner Royale?
Let's speak with Chair Gordon first.
You want me to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
if it's possible. So, and ask them if they can do the same things. So, and then, or ad hoc, right? Which we will create, and theirs we can meet. Yeah, right?
That's possible.
Yeah, I mean, like, not only like people from our commission, but we need theirs commission to be involved. And I understand the mechanism, to be kind of like, to hold a meeting together, we have to have ad hoc created, right? Or not?
Not necessarily, I mean, not necessarily you can agendize stuff, but an ad hoc is a good strategy to get a
Right.
group of
Yeah,
people to
let's do-
dive into a topic, because we only meet once a month and you need time between to formulate
Exactly.
thoughts,
To solve the
strategize, reach
faster.
out to people. So that's, while staying within our role as a commission within those guardrails. And yeah, so it is a good tool in our toolbox. And when you have an ad hoc and you reach out, they're more likely to respond. You can get support from the city as well to support your ad hoc. So it is a good tool.
I was just gonna clarify that if you do create an ad hoc, you can, of course, reach out to people outside of the commission and outside of the ad hoc, but other commission members, say Commissioner Gordon, wouldn't be part of that ad hoc. It would be the ad hoc for the Disabilities Commission, not a combined ad hoc between commissions.
Okay.
Commissioner Adiyemi?
The ad hoc is from all the different meetings, like a representative or something?
Indeed,
Commission only, your commission only.
within each
in fact, my comment was.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. My comment was going to ask whether that creates another layer of bureaucracy, when in fact Commissioner Gordon is already dealing with housing, and to create a BMH, a below market housing ad hoc, will represent negating the work she's doing. I mean, it may enhance it, just like Tom said, but it helps to have a combined voice to present something. But I was thinking that perhaps that would create another layer of bureaucracy, which may be helpful, but I don't know.
Well, I don't think it's like creating a new department. It's more like, I think what it is, like a resolution. You know, it's like, we resolve that you comply with the BMH tiered system. That's what I think it was, unless I misunderstood it. So we would be saying that too. It'd be like, we'd be just taking that language and just saying, it's our resolution too, that we resolve that we want you to adhere to that and not violate the, the seniority of, what was agreed to. But I think that's what it was. Maybe I'm confused.
Well, I'd say think about if there's an ad hoc, we can always bring it up. It's going to be pretty much on every agenda as an item. Sometimes also we can just fly through this item if there's no one wants to do it. It's just always an option, because I want to give that opportunity. If there's some you're really focused on, a couple people, I always want to have that option to bring it to the commission. So I like to keep this as a standing item. But I'm going to say let's move to the next item, but always have that in mind. Yeah, I'm gonna suggest we skip 9A6. Same idea. If there's a existing board or commission you're passionate about, feel free to suggest that. Commissioner Clark?
Yeah, I was wondering if I could be a liaison to the Recreation and Parks Commission.
Yes.
I'm kind of curious to see what they have for people with disabilities. That's cool. And how maybe we could improve it, or make suggestions to improve it.
I love that idea. Would you like to formally become our liaison to that board?
Yes, please.
Great. And would you like to collaborate with Commissioner Adiyemi on that?
Sure.
Great. Staff, we have a new co-liaisons for a commission. Thank you. Any other, I don't want to steamroll, I think we're good. Oh, that's awesome. That's a great commission too. Awesome. All right. Next item, 13A, future agenda planning. I think I talked about this. I'm aiming for June, but before July 1, I want to do a public hearing. So we'll do an ad hoc and figure out the best way to do it. I don't want to freestyle on how we're going to do that. And then in February, we're confirmed we have Cal Able going to do a presentation on Cal Able program, which starting January 1st, the eligibility goes up to 46 years old. That's a great program to save money and not lose your eligibility. So super excited about that. They confirmed. So we have stuff for February, probably June. It's called Cal Able. It's an Able account. If you have a disability, you can save money in an Able account, and it doesn't impact your eligibility for SSI, the income limit. Yeah. So we're gonna have staff present in February from Cal Able. They're a state agency. So that's exciting. I'd also like to get at some point this fiscal year, and Thomas, if you can help get Lindsay call or someone on her staff, because I know there's been a lot of disaster preparedness. I think like something just got approved, but it's been a year since the fires, and I think that's a topic I'd like someone from the city to talk to us about disaster preparedness specifically. So maybe our chief resiliency officer or someone. So I already have 3 ideas, but I want to open it up.
There was a lady that came in to talk to the Housing Commission about disaster preparedness. I got her packet. Did I get her business card? I don't know if, I think I might have her business card too, but she did speak before the Housing Commission.
Okay, yeah, that would.
I guess I can try and email you if I'm pretty sure I got her business card. Do you want me to give you the information on her?
If you have it, or I'll work with Thomas as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
I forgot her name. I think Thomas, you were at the meeting.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, okay.
Start with me and then we'll go.
Start with you. Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
And we haven't had the library in a while either. Because I bring that up because one thing I thought was really cool we did is we made like that disability awareness reads, curated list on the Santa Monica Library website, and it's not there anymore when I click on that hyperlink. So I'd like to update it or work on that. And they're just going to be a partner for ours, especially once the ADA digital regulations. They're an asset in the community. So I have 6 more meetings in this term, so I want to fill those.
As if you're leaving.
Well, so we have library, disaster, Cal Able, public hearing. We need Blake to come back. So either January or March. So January or March, can we see if, can we look into the Chief Resilience Officer or Blake? February, I think we're good.
And then can I ask, what do we want to, are there topics specific that you'd like to discuss with Blake that I can prepare him for, or?
He was talking about the last meeting about the self-evaluation and transition plan, and I haven't heard anything about that since, and that was super exciting to the commission. Yeah, and then everything disability. I mean, I also would like him to be at least present at the public hearing, just to hear from the community, and maybe if he wants to chime in and present on something for 5-10 minutes. But we need to have a relationship with him as well, so it's kind of always keeping the relationship going. And the topic, though, is the self-evaluation and transition plan.
Blake is with the,
He's the ADA coordinator, Blake Stavros.
yeah, but he's not with the city attorney's office.
No.
Okay, I don't think he hasn't been here, I don't know who that is.
Let me get, you were next in the queue.
So, obviously, a lot of our discussion goes around the housing and BMH and all these. Who would be a good resource to go over some of the legal parameters that are affecting in terms of the development of buildings and parking? I mean, is there someone in the city from the attorney's office who focuses on these, Tom? Is there, just to have a discussion in here, because we're making a lot of assumptions, some right, some probably wrong, on what is and is not supposed to be.
Would it be the rent control board or something too?
I'm gonna have to look into it. I'm gonna have to ask somebody who I work with, to determine who might be that best person, and I can get back to you.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Royale?
I think it's like code enforcement who actually regulates and enforce all these codes and regulation regarding buildings as well. So, but the main person who might have like a lot of knowledge and can give us some sort of kind of like explanation on our questions is probably like from city attorney office. So because they are who have a lot of information about issue with developers, renters, landlords, etc., etc. So that's probably will be the best whom to ask.
Commissioner Antonini?
I could also reach out to, I know there's like a lot of people at like a department at UCLA that does a lot of work on like housing. And so they have a pretty wide knowledge. There are people there who have pretty wide knowledge of, kind of the legal requirements around housing. So if we are interested also in people who are, if we don't know who within like the city government would be best positioned to talk about that, we might be able to find someone there. I can reach out to some people and see if anyone is interested
See
in,
me if it makes sense.
yeah,
See
talking.
us. Actually, also May, we want to do some mental health related. In May is Mental Health Month. We usually have a thing with City Council where we accept the proclamation, but I think we should do something topical on that. Maybe bring someone in, maybe from the city or maybe externally for May. And then looking ahead to July, we need to do something for Disability Awareness Month. I had a thought on someone else, but I lost it. Also, if you, Thomas, if you have an in with a city council member that would like to join us, just even a meet and greet, I'm going to reach out directly to some folks, definitely after I send this letter, or so that might trigger a conversation like, oh, thanks for sending. Oh, do you want to come? But if in the meantime, when I did the July thing, a couple council members said they were interested in coming, but maybe now's the time with the new year. That's
a lot. Good.
Commissioner Clark?
Maybe if we could get them to come to the hearing, like invite some of them to the hearing, that might be a draw for people to attend to.
Definitely. Yeah, when we established the ad hoc too, I think we need to get some engagement from the city side and the community side. And I still haven't forgot that assembly bill that passed that lets us do virtual hybrids, but again, I'd like to do that at the earliest after April. So the earliest would be May, just because I want to wait till the web accessibility stuff is in place. Okay, I think we have a lot of stuff queued up. Hopefully January we get Blake and/or someone on disaster. We got February lined up. We'll figure out something for March. We'll do something for May, mental health. April, maybe library. But also between meetings, you can always send me an email just with your thoughts, random thoughts, or whatever. I'm always open, just to, if you want to get some on the record that comes to you not here. You're like, I have an idea, and we'll bring it back here, because sometimes it's tough on the spot. But I think I think I'm good on this item unless anyone really wants to, any last minute thoughts, any. And we gave Thomas a lot of homework on this one, so thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Okay, I'm gonna move to adjourn the meeting, Commissioner Royale and Commissioner Gordon.
After you.
I was gonna move to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, good.
I moved to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, everybody, great meeting.